We are driving home with Andor, or as Drew Barrymore calls it, riding in cars with boys. I'm Andrew Fantasia, and I'm canon.
Riding in cars with Pow. You're not.
That should be the next movie. Riding in Cars with Pow, a Star Wars story.
That's all of season 2. every second of season 2 is just riding. It's Bix riding in cars with Pow.
I'm there for it. How are you, James?
Good. I'm driving home. This is gonna be a fun episode because I do have to get gasoline. I have to put gasoline in my car. So you will. I'm not gonna let anyone know. I'm not even gonna mention it. We're just gonna do it, and I'm gonna freeze. So when you hear me shivering, Andrew, you'll know. How are you?
I am great. I can't wait to do a play-by-play of you getting gas. I'm going to turn it into an event.
First, I went to the Taco Bell. Yeah. You said Dale's in the chat?
Dale Erdman is in the chat.
Hi, Dale.
Hello, hello. And I'm assuming Dale has seen Andor, so we can talk about Andor.
Yes, I forgot to put this link in our Patreon page. I forgot. I set this up late last night. That's why. I recorded with Brock and Pete from Around the Galaxy last night. It went long. I set this up right after. Completely forgot to put this on. I'm sorry about that. I'll put it on Patreon after. I haven't shared it on Facebook or Twitter yet, so nobody knows this happens unless you have like a notification. So ring that bell.
It's all a big secret. The patrons are going to be pissed off. That's okay. They have listening devices in your car. They know everything you say.
They're the ISB.
Speaking of the ISB, we didn't get a whole lot of them this week.
Yeah. So first things first, because you just said that, what were your thoughts on this episode?
My thoughts on this episode were it was a really cool setup for a finale. My biggest takeaway, though, was the Marva stuff and how sketchy it felt. So I feel like that's a rug that has yet to be pulled out from underneath us and from underneath Cassian. What was your takeaway?
Well, I told you what I thought of that. We'll get into my thoughts on that thoroughly a little later. But my takeaway was I enjoyed the episode, but it went back to how I felt, how this one was more of that binge watching show. Even if it's and part of the things we're going to talk about on Thursday, on Thanksgiving Thursday's roundtable with Pete, is I kind of feel like there's this third option of storytelling now, where there is, or fourth option, where there's movies, there's binge watching, there's weekly, and then there's this like arc drop one where you drop 3 episodes. I feel like this is where this episode kind of felt for me, where it was a good episode, but it was the first episode for me of Andor where it ended. I was like, oh, we're done. Okay. Like it kind of ended and I was like, all right. It ended like Morbius. Remember Morbius, how it just stops? The movie just stops being a movie at one point.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're like, oh, we're done. We're done. And oddly enough, the actress that portrays Bix is also in Morbius. So maybe that's her MO for storytelling. But no, but that was my thing, is I really enjoyed the episode. But yeah, like you said, it was a good build up to a finale. But it brought me back to, okay, maybe this series is better off as a binge watching show, or at least a segment, compartment watching or something, because it didn't feel complete to me, this one. But again, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of really good stuff there. Obviously, Luthen and Saw Gerrera anytime either one of them is on screen, it's all going to be awesome. You got like the Melshi, and it's so funny because you put Melshi in this show, and you're like, oh, Melshi and Andor, and then he's like, well, dude, let's go our separate ways. Like, you stupid show. You're like, we know they end up together, you jerks. But like that's what I love about this show, is like, you're like, okay, it's going in this direction, and it's not that it's like a Luke, I am your father shock or anything, but they're just kind of like, no, actually, we're going to make a left turn in Albuquerque instead of a right turn. They're like, okay, whatever, let's do it. So there's a lot of really good moments in this episode. It didn't feel flat. It felt like it was part of that binge watching. which isn't like a knock anymore because in my mind anyway, I've decided that it's a new form of storytelling, which is a-okay.
Yeah, the Melshi of it all. I mean, would it have been nice if these 2 episodes were, them as Crockett and Tubbs just bopping around whatever this water planet is and getting stuff done? Yeah, that would have been fun. But I get it. I mean, they're not friends. They were, victims of circumstance. And now that they're free, Melshi's probably got people he's got to go find. We know his path is going to take him to Yavin 4 eventually. He's going to become whatever. I forget what he was in Rogue One. If he was a sergeant or something, he was leading a squad, so he was up there. So he's been with the rebels for a bit, which means he's not far from meeting them. But we leave with Cassian alone, which I think is how Cassian prefers to be still. So it's going to, I think we're going to hit a turning point story-wise where whatever ends up happening with Marva, whether she's alive or dead or whatever, it's going to flip a switch where Cassian doesn't want to be alone anymore so much because of whatever that tragedy is going to be. But I think before we get there, you and I got to talk about these 2 fisherman aliens. I want to know what they're called, and I want to know why we haven't met their kind sooner. And I like the way they talk because they talk fun. They're like, oh, I wish I could quote them. It was a long day yesterday. So, yeah, like the Empire. They talk like the far future in Cloud Atlas when it's just Tom Hanks and Halle Berry.
I have not seen that movie, but they look kind of like an even larger version of Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black.
Yes,
so
they do.
I've only seen this episode once, and then like I said, so I watched it and then we recorded like I think it's like an hour and 20-minute show. So you guys are in for a good time on Thursday, I swear. But that went long, and then I went to bed because I have a 2-month-old. So like I didn't really get to enjoy the design of these 2 yet. That being said, I was on the Twitter, and everything on Twitter is true. And I did see our good friend Pete Futzer tweet some concept, or not concept, but like creature designs from Rogue One. And it looked like these creatures were at least a concept or a 3D construction for something in Rogue One. So it looks like at least one of them's been around for a while and somebody's shelf, and they took it. I liked it. It's kind of doing the sequel trilogy, specifically Canto Bight, where you're like, these aren't aliens I recognize. But it's just so good that I've stopped caring. And then the minute I'm like, I don't recognize you, they're like, here's tubes. I'm like, you son of a gun. I'm back. Yeah, you've got me back. So it's good. It's nice to I'm fine with new aliens. I do prefer them when they're living with the old aliens that I know and that I'm aware of, because that's the universe of Star Wars. It's they are in there. I like the way they were. I have to rewatch that scene because I think I missed how they escaped. They just don't like the Empire, right? So I can't really remember. But I thought the nets that they were caught in was cool. That idea was cool. And you're a big planet guy, so I can only imagine that you were really like salivating at this entire sequence.
Oh yeah, like those 2 guys alone, they need a double-page spread in that DK visual dictionary that apparently Lucasfilm never wants to make anymore because money is bad, according to them. But those guys need a spread. I want to know what that net is made of, what they usually use it for. Probably fish, but tell me about that. Why does the one guy have a harpoon hand?
But why is it on land if it's for fish? Andrew, there's so many questions.
I know, and I want to know so much more.
I guarantee
story
there's
group,
someone
get
out there
on that.
like, I bet you there's somebody out there who's like, I know all of these answers. In episode 27 of the Droids cartoon, this character appeared, and then in episode 246 of Clone Wars, his brother Anton arrived.
I hope that person has that exact voice and accent and cadence and everything.
I don't know what my voice was, but earlier I was talking to him, and somehow my voice morphed into Kermit the Frog. So
yeah, you went slightly Swedish Chef, and then you just dovetailed into Kermit.
Something, I don't know. The thing is, I had no reason for doing a voice to begin with, but it went off the rails quickly. Much like the Book of Boba Fett, which is the greatest Star Wars show ever made, Andor is a close fourth. I'm just making that up. Look, I think we all know that I love Book of Boba Fett more than most people should. I just rewatched the last 4 episodes of it, and I'm like, hot damn, I love this show. But Andor is, I mean, and you can't even compare these two shows, right? Like they're so vastly different. But Andor is in a league of its own, and it's so well crafted, and it looks so well made. Not that Mandalorian. I know people like to knock on it now, Book of Boba Fett and stuff, the way it looks and stuff. Not that it doesn't look that good, but this one feels like a film. Andor, I'm talking about.
I think the way that I like to look at them, at these 4 shows at least, is
with your eyeballs.
Usually with my eyeballs, sometimes with my pinky, but that can get tiring after a while because there's only so much room. But I look at them as The Mandalorian is 80s Star Wars as a TV show.
Uh-huh.
The Book of Boba Fett is kids with action figures just going like this with a budget and having an awesome time and lots of fun. You can't see what I'm doing because you don't have your camera on, but I'm doing the thing, James, when kids would have action figures and they would smash them together and be like, boo, I'm going to get you, right? And I mean that as a good thing. I don't mean that as a criticism. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a really, really good 2.5 hour long movie that somebody just stretched to the point where it didn't really hold itself up anymore.
And they stretched the wrong pieces.
Yeah. And Andor is a prestige HBO drama that somehow got the Star Wars license. That's how I look at them, and they're 4 very different shows because of that, but they're all fun as hell. And now it's time.
I agree.
Now it's time for you to go get gas.
I'm gonna get gasoline. But before I do, I want to know your thoughts on Andor's mom, and also I didn't realize her last name was Andor until now. But I want to know your thoughts on Andor's mom.
Andor's mom is, she is the aunt of Harry Potter, which means she's not very nice, and she doesn't like magic, and she doesn't want Harry to go to Hogwarts because if he does, he'll get some crazy ideas like his mother, Lily.
She's in Super Mario Brothers, the movie as well.
Oh my God, she is? I didn't know this.
Yes, she is. I keep pausing my mic. Yes, she is in it. She plays, I don't know what her name is, but I always thought of her as Wendy Koopa. She's definitely not, but she is, you can hear that music, huh? So, anyway, she is in Super Mario Brothers, a movie, and she's phenomenal.
Oh, I'm thinking of the new one. I'm thinking you're saying she's going to be in the new Super Mario Brothers movie. And that got me a little bit excited. I still have to see the original Super Mario Brothers movie, and I will. But in the meantime, before I answer your Marva question, I just want to address one thing happening in the chat here. Stan Solo said that Rob and I need to have a trivia rematch. And you know what, Rob? I think it's high time we did. I think I'm typing in the chat right now that I agree. It's high time we had a rematch. You'll probably beat me because DK hasn't released any visual dictionaries, so I can't learn any new information. Lucasfilm story group. But what the hell? Let's trivia it up and see what happens. I'm sure James and Brock and everybody, all the fans can think of some questions that can stump both of us. I still can't believe Rob guessed the exact date that the Force Awakens trailer came out. That's just one for the ages. But Marva, let's talk about Marva. There's the whole saying that if you don't see a body, you got to raise an eyebrow. And we don't see a body. We see something covered by tarp, conveniently covered by tarp, that gets whisked away from the house. And we hear people talking about how she died. But killing a character off screen it can be a powerful storytelling tool when it's done right. And it fits in certain situations. Does it fit with this situation? I don't quite think it does. I don't necessarily think it doesn't, but there's nothing about the situation that tells me that it does either. And to top it all off, you've got this whole thing where last week we saw, I can't remember her name, Vel's girlfriend or wife, I don't know what their marital status is, but the girl who is with Vel, she walked up to the house where Marva lived, and she's doing some sneaky business, and she just kind of looked at the house and was, I don't even think she said a word. She just kind of looked at it, and then she had that look like the suspicious dog from The Simpsons who just kind of has shifty eyes, and then that was it, and that was all we saw. We know that Vel was told by the lady at the antique store, who I think her name is Clea or
Clea,
Clea. Yeah, Clea told her we got to take care of
not
Cassian
Leia.
Andor, not Leia, even though they both kind of even look similar.
Yeah.
Clea literally looks like she's a 40-year-old Millie Bobby Brown, so it's it didn't help make the situation a little less confusing. But Clea and Luthen want Cassian out of the picture. They told Vel to do this. Vel probably, would outsource that work to her girlfriend slash wife and say, hey, hon, help me out. We got to take care of this guy. What better way to do that than kidnap his mom or stage a death or whatever? Do some elaborate conspiracy to draw him out. Because I don't think they know he's in prison.
No one does, right? But here's
Right.
my thing, though, and just sort of cut you off is
No, go for it.
how long were they on Ferrix for? Because he was in prison for over a month.
That's right. He was in prison for over a month. I'm assuming maybe they were on Ferrix for a while, so maybe they were planning this whole
Playing a
thing
long
out.
game.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Right. The rebels should be able to be puppet masters too, not just Palpatine. But they, if it's as elaborate as I kind of think and hope it is, it's a trap that could work for catching Cassian, and it's also a trap that could work for catching some Imperials who are looking for Cassian.
Yeah.
If the people who are looking for him know where he's going to be, it doesn't matter who those people are. They're going to go there. And then I think what you're going to end up having is all these rebels, all these Imperials, whatever Cyril Karn is supposed to be, and Cassian Andor meeting in the middle. That's where this is all pointing towards. And Marva is what they use to get everybody there. It's a big galaxy. Everybody's going off doing their own things. So using Marva in that way as bait, that makes sense to me. And it makes more sense to me than just killing her off screen because she's an elderly lady and her house is kind of chilly. I don't know, James, am I crazy?
No, because you don't get Fiona Shaw just like have her in 2 episodes and then die.
Right?
You can have her in 2 episodes and die, but you make sure that the death has a purpose and you see her when she's dead. They didn't do any of that.
Plus,
that was my first thought was obviously, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, but plus I just want to add one thing here. David Yates, who directed the Harry Potter back half of the films, made the really big judgment call that was not cool, which is to cut her and the Dursleys out of Deathly Hallows entirely, and people were pissed. So don't make the same mistake with the same actor again. But
no, but she's from Super Mario Brother movie. I can't believe you haven't seen the Super Mario Brother movie.
I know.
Blowing my mind. It's one of the all-time greatest movies. You know what? It's not good, but I remember when I was a kid, I was obsessed with it. Have you seen Double Dragon?
I love Double Dragon.
With Scott Wolf?
Yeah, and Alyssa Milano, yeah.
Yeah, Alyssa Milano. So, Double Dragon, Super Mario Bros., Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Annihilation, they're all the same production design. If you like one, you like them all. That's a fact, okay? Because they all look the exact same. I don't know if it's the same production designer, or whose idea it was to make them all video game movies look like that in the early mid 90s, but here we are. Look, you don't get Fiona Shaw to do this just to like die off screen. I think her character's death will eventually play a major factor in it, even if she is dead. But I did feel that it was like a ploy by the rebels because it started very shifty as well. Like I was like, did I miss something? What happened here? The way it started and went, the way they were kind of keeping the droid out of it, I was like, something's amiss. But my other feeling too is like, what if this was all put on by the Empire? I mean, this is probably wrong, but put on by the Empire. I know it's probably not practical and going to happen, Andrew. But what if the Empire like did something to her in the middle of the night, like took her away, and they faked her death to fool the people of Ferrix and to kind of flush out Andor because they've been waiting for him for over a freaking month. And maybe it's Vel and her friend. Maybe they did something. I don't know. So I feel like there's going to be a twist on her death, because obviously Andor's found out and he's on his way home, and that's the only way to get him home. Which, the timing for him getting out of prison is perfect now. But That's how I feel. I didn't buy into her death because it took me by surprise also. So I feel like we're not. Her character hasn't served her purpose yet. The next episode could be her last episode, period. But I just at this point I don't think Andor's mom has served her purpose.
Right, not 100%. And it might even be like Dale is bringing up a good point that Marva dies off screen. Like we miss her death because Cassian misses her death, and the writers are trying to put us in his shoes. And that's a great point, Dale. And it could be that both of these things are happening, that maybe Vel's girlfriend, whose name I really need to learn, just, there isn't any super elaborate scheme here. Maybe it's just a matter of she killed Marva and just use that as the bait.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
Which again would really have sucked if Andor was still in prison.
Exactly. And Heidi brings up a really funny point. Heidi says, all I know is that the resort hotel has the worst room service if his luggage has been there for over a month.
So true.
Yeah. By the way, that when he goes through his luggage and he's got like a bunch of credits in his luggage, I really want somebody to make replica credits. Like when I look at those, especially like when we saw them in The Mandalorian as well, just like that smooth rectangular chunk of metal that looks like it would feel so nice to just hold a bunch of those. I want credits to be a thing we can buy.
Rob has Beskar, like the Beskar block from The Mandalorian. They have or what is it? Yeah, Beskar. It's not money, whatever. The thing that Mando melts down in that episode. He has a brick of that. He got it at the Scum and Villainy Cantina in California. So you can get that. I'm sure Galaxy's Edge will get credits eventually. Although if it's on the Outer Rim, maybe they won't. But maybe at some point they'll get credits at Galaxy's Edge.
Maybe. That would be nice. Rob, I'll trade you Beskar for 2 Mon Calamari flan.
You don't have any of that.
No, I don't.
You do have a lightsaber though.
I do have a lightsaber. It's not a Galaxy's Edge lightsaber because I haven't been there. But it's a green Luke Skywalker lightsaber, and it makes whoosh noises when you swing it.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. You've been on a couple of shows.
No, yeah, that's right. We tried to do a Ben Solo challenge once upon a time, like 4 years ago now. 22, no, three and a bit years.
I can't. Yeah. Mandalorian's been on TV for 4 years. Baby Yoda has been in our life for 4 years, and honestly, I feel like Baby Yoda's been with us since the dawn of time.
I feel that way too. He has always existed. We always knew in the back of our heads, just like we always knew Anakin Skywalker fell in a volcano, and we always somehow knew Mace Windu's lightsaber was purple. We always knew Grogu was coming. It was just a matter of time. Yeah. Rob says no deal. Rob refuses to trade me Beskar.
Rob's in the chat?
Yeah, Rob's in the chat. So is Dale. So is Heidi. So is Stan Solo.
Rob, do you want to do a Mandalorian video with me during the Christmas break? We'll record it beforehand. Don't tell anyone. Answer in the comments below.
He responded right now. He says, go to hell, James. Leave me alone.
Yeah, no, that sounds like Rob.
Yeah.
Sounds like Rob. Rob got me the Die Hard Christmas children's book a few years ago. Uh-huh. What an amazing book that is.
It's like a picture book of Die Hard?
Yeah, it's like a kid's book, but it's Die Hard. I'll take a picture and send it to you. It's pretty hilarious. Anyway, we're talking Andor, episode 11. 1 episode to go. This thing is wrapping up hotter than a wrap at a Greek place.
Stop making me hungry. Do you have any predictions for the finale?
Not a one. Not a one. I feel like, okay, so obviously, what's that guy's name? Klieg or whatever? Klieg, the fat guy. Kliarg. He asks Bix about him, and then Luthen's like, they're going to blow him up. He's going to die, right? Everybody on that ship is going to die.
Oh, the guy in the hologram? The guy they're looking for?
Yeah. And I think what's going to happen is that's going to set everything in motion. And that's part of the reason why the next season is going to be like so many years all at once, is because this season has been building to that event, and that event is what really, really kind of drives everything home and really sets the rebellion floating, and really like gets everybody on edge because of what the Empire does and did, and that's what's going to spark the spark of the rebellion. That's what's going to spark next season, and the lead up to Rogue One. It's going to be that event. What's going to happen is it's going to backfire on the Empire, and it's going to backfire on Luthen, and it's going to be bigger than both anticipated it to be, because they're not getting who they think, and Luthen is allowing something to happen that is going to steamroll ahead his plans quicker and unsecure as it should be from the start.
Right. He's going to use that guy to basically prop him up as a martyr. And then the rebellion has something to look at so that they can join forces and say, look how bad the Empire is. Because the Empire hasn't blown up any Alderons yet.
I'm not even sure if Luthen's going to be involved. I think it's going to be the galaxy is going to see, like, people are going to hear about this in the galaxy. It's going to be bigger than the Empire predicted it to be. And I'm kind of hoping, Andrew, you get your moment where, what's her name? Mova? The
Marva?
blonde. Mira. Dory.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The blonde ISB.
Oh,
the main bad guy of the show.
Oh God, what is her name?
Maury Povich. What is her name?
What?
Heidi knows.
Somebody in the chat, tell us what's her name. The ISB.
Oh my God,
officer.
Maury. It's like Dory or Maury or Mova.
You know, I know her name if DK made a book.
So, anyway, I don't know. Maybe CVP is gonna wipe her out because this is gonna be such a colossal disaster, or maybe CVP knows this is happening because he sees everything. I have foreseen it.
I have foreseen everything. God, I just want him to sit at a table with Mon Mothma and just scare the hell out of her, and she has to like.
I don't think you're getting anymore because she's on her way out. I think she's got less than an episode left as being in the Senate.
Well, I mean that's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was done. Oh. I think she's out. I still haven't figured out her husband yet.
Yeah, her husband's still such a cipher, but that can be the conversation. If she's out, it can be him sitting at a table with her and basically saying, without saying, in a very Hans Landa kind of way, like, I know whose side you're on. And then she just books it and she gets out of Coruscant and does whatever she has to do, meets up with Bail probably, and says, Bail, let's take this old SOB down. He was maybe he kills Perrin and the daughter or something. I don't know. That's still dangling there, right? Those two are still just collateral damage waiting to happen.
I'm curious if we're going to get Bail in this series. I feel like we won't because of his role in Obi-Wan Kenobi. But he is, and this show, I always say this show is a Rogue One show more than a Star Wars show. And Bail is in Rogue One. Bail's
important to this story. Season 2, him showing up makes a lot of sense. I don't think we're getting him next week. Emotional evolution, thank you. Daedra is her name. Is the
Daedra.
Daedra, yeah.
Daedra.
She's a Daedra believer and ISB queen.
Oh my God! You've been thinking. How long have you been working on that for like a month?
Yes, I faked not knowing her name just so I could plow that out at the last second.
September 21st, I started writing this little ditty. What do you think? That's one thing with this show is the characters' names on this show like elude me all the time.
Yeah, thankfully there's one character's name who doesn't elude me just because he made such an impact. And we got to see him this week. Well, I always forget his, but I'm talking about Linus Mosk, the guy who dropped the S-bomb back in episode 3. And that's because
welcome back.
Yeah, he's back and he has worse Zoom connection than we all had through the course.
It's funny, I'm about to hit a dead zone, so this is a perfect time to talk about him.
Can you start speaking in Linus Moss's voice?
Hey, what's up, sir? You want to know about shit? Yeah, that's Commissioner Pete Savage from the Batman. What a range! What
he's alive, right? He survived through the Batman. Like we'll see him again in the Batman 2, or is he dead?
No. Have you watched the Batman, Andrew?
I watched it twice, and I can't remember what happened to him.
Rats ate him alive.
The rats
eat him. Rats eat him. Yeah, the rats got him. Spoilers for the Batman. Don't take your kids.
Rob has a prediction.
By rats.
Rob says, my only prediction for the final episode is that Mon Mothma's husband and daughter are going to be revealed as rebel operatives as well. I mean, that daughter's got...
I get that feeling, but...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, my dead zone's not very dead. I get that feeling too, and that's why I don't think it's going to happen anymore, because I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's so much you could do with them. Even the idea of like Perrin is a rebel operative, and then the daughter rats them both out. Like that is something that could totally happen too. And that is tragic as hell. So there's so much you could do there. In fact, I think I like that better than them both being rebels, just because of how it would affect Mon. But that part of the story might be the most interesting part of all of this to me right now, just because we know where Cassian's headed, and even though we know where Mon is headed, I want to see how she gets from point A to point B even more than I do with Cassian. And Heidi is saying, I don't know if this is on purpose, but Cyril's mother reminds me of Rhoda's Morgenstern's mother. I have no idea who that is, but Cyril's mother is a creepy lady. So if that person you mentioned is creepy, Heidi, I'm right there with you.
Are we gonna meet his uncle?
I don't think we'll meet his uncle. I think his uncle is just a monkey's uncle.
But where's his storyline going to? Because he's a character that I'm like, oh, he's going this direction. Nope, going this direction. Nope, maybe this direction. Nope. And I just can't figure out where his character is headed. Because this week I'm like, oh, he's just going to strictly be a bad guy. But next week I'll be like, yeah, I might be a rebel. I just can't figure out where he's going. And that's a compliment.
Yeah, I can't figure him out either. I think that this is super dark, and I don't even know if Andor would want to go this far, but I feel like this season could end with like there's a battle, whatever, and Daedra gets really injured and we think she's dead, and then she like wakes up and she's in Cyril's apartment, and he's like, don't worry, I'll take care of you, we'll be together forever. And like he just goes full creepy stalker and kidnaps her. I wouldn't put that past him. Would I put it past the writers? Maybe, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, the only thing is he obsessed with her, or is he obsessed with Andor?
He is very obsessed with Andor. That is true. He really...
Yeah, it's almost like his obsession with her is just to get at Andor.
Yeah, because she has the power to do it, and that might be what he's obsessed with.
So I'm curious. I could be wrong.
No, I think that's a good point. I'm curious what his relationship was to those two dudes that Andor murdered. Because like he is fuming every time he thinks about that murder. Like, are they just like two? Like, did they hang out? Were they friends?
My feeling is 2 officers got killed, and instead of doing the right thing, he was ordered to cover it up. And as a guy, and it just snowballed because he was like, "This is wrong. I have to figure this out." And he wants to be a hero. He needs to be that hero. And that's because of the way his mom treats him. There's a whole. I would go with all of that. So I think that's what it is. It has nothing to do with who those people were. It's what they represent. And he's crazy. But that's my thing. Is like everyone's like, "Oh, him and DJ, they love you." I'm like, I don't know if he cares. If either one of them care about the other one, they both want to get Andor. And I think he would stalk anybody who could get him there.
I think you're right. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And it's just better overall. if the idea of the glory of catching this criminal and being a hero of the Empire, that's what's driving him. It's pulling him out of the sea of mediocrity that he has been born in. I mean, when we first see him go to his mother's house, where we assume he grew up, that is like middle class Coruscant. He's not in the depths where all the creepy stuff happens, and he's definitely not in any of the skyscrapers. He's just mid. That's all he is. He's a mid-level employee from a mid-level background, and that's stifling to him, and he just wants to break free.
But here's my my question is, word's going to get out about what the Empire is doing in those prisons. He says that in this episode. He's like, this is what I'm saying. We gotta let them know what they're doing. So if word travels to him or Deidre, and I'm thinking more him, is it possible? Like, this is where I think that turn could happen for anybody now. It's like when the truth gets out about what's actually going on, the people that were loyal might not be loyal much longer.
Right. In the case of Cyril, I think there's going to be a sense of zealousness where when that truth comes out, it'll shake him to his core, and the only way he can deal with it is pure denial, is just put blinders on and say that this revelation is wrong. Because if it's right, it means I wasted my whole life worshiping this institution. So it's gonna completely break him and make him more dangerous at the same time. Rob wants to know, when does Mephisto show up, though? Rob, we told you Mephisto has only been confirmed to show up in the Acolyte season 4.
Yeah,
that's all Kevin said.
And Borat will be playing Mephisto.
Yeah.
And season 4, episode 7 only.
That's
and he'll be then he's recast by Liam Hemsworth.
That's right. After one episode, Liam Hemsworth starts playing him. That's an interesting casting. I think I like it, though. I think I can see it. It's
as good as a Matt Smith casting in episode 9.
That's right. Yeah, we're still waiting on that. Maybe that's what we'll get next week in the finale. We'll finally reveal who Matt Smith was playing. And Heidi wants to know who will play Stan Lee. And the answer is me. I'll be Stan.
My name's Andrew Fantasia. Excelsior!
I don't know what a Star War is, but oh boy, I bet people have great superpowers here.
I say whatever. I can't do a voice to save my life. I do a really bad Kermit the Frog today. By the way, Spider-Man, my disc melted. I'm not making this up. It actually melted. But my Spider-Man on the PS1 was one of my favorite video games. I can't play it ever again because it melted. But yeah, if you ever have a chance to play that game, phenomenal game, narrated by Stan the Man Lee.
I had that one on N64, and the N64 version was really bad because it didn't have cutscenes. It just had still images.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but we still had Stan Lee, thankfully. That game was super fun.
Get it on the PlayStation, though. It's way better. It had cutscenes.
How did it melt?
Well, it was old, and it was in a shoebox, and I finally got it back earlier this year or last year, and I was so excited. I plugged in PlayStation, and I took the disc out. I say melt, but basically it's a disc. It's a clear disc now.
Oh.
Everything on it, like, it's gone. I don't know how it happened. It was in a shoebox for, I would say, 20 years. It was in that shoebox. So, you know, it lived a life that Toy Story characters have nightmares about.
That is sad. They made a sequel to that game that I don't think anybody on planet Earth played. It was called Enter Electro.
Yeah, I never got it. I can't remember why, but was it on PlayStation 2 or 1? There was something about it. I never got it.
I think it was on the same platform.
Yeah, I wanted the game, never got it, never played it. But I want to get my hands on this game, like a used copy, and I think I found one for like $120 or something. And I said, GTH, kid, GTH. I'll just play the Spider-Man Miles Morales that Rob gave me, and be gone with you.
Is Miles Morales good? I heard it's good, but it's very short. And every time I try to buy it, it's like $80, and I'm like, not for a short game, hon.
I'm really bad. Yeah, it's short. It is. It's not a full game though. I don't think it is short though, but it is a. I have to get Aaron to beat certain levels for me. I don't want to get into it. It's a Fallen Order. She beat Fallen Order, but she let me face off Vader at the end. So technically, I beat it, but she did all the work.
Oh, that's at least she's had practice for when Survivor comes out, and now she can beat all of Survivor and hand you the controller. Right.
She's weird. She won't play like Spider-Man often, but she like Fallen Order. She likes Star Wars, but she would like just play it on her own. I would come home from work and she'd be like, "I'm playing." I'm like, "All right." What happened? What I missed? She goes, "I don't know," because she doesn't know it. She doesn't know. Like she's not into it. She's like, "I don't know. There's a bug and I killed her." And some guy said he was a Sith. I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?"
She's like, "Oh yeah, and now Luke is dead in canon."
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Can't wait till they do that.
Right. That game was all right. That game was okay. They did a lot of things right with Fallen Order, and I'm looking forward to Survivor. But I heard something the other day that made me think of you, James, because it was where if you had heard this, I think you would have left an angry comment on this video, and I would have agreed with you. So one last story here, and we'll wrap up. There's a board game that came. You remember it? It came out a couple years ago. It's called Star Wars Outer Rim.
You remember it? It's called Operation. It's as old as you.
It was Pop-O-Matic Operation. Do you remember those? You remember Outer Rim?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah.
You wanted it or something, I believe.
I did, yeah. And I found it cheap, and I picked it up, and I'm like, okay, cool, Outer Rim. And it's pretty fun, but it was missing a lot. Like you could tell they needed to add stuff to it. And an expansion recently came out. So I was watching a video about the expansion, and there was one of the designers was talking about what's in the expansion, and this designer started everything. He prefaced it by saying, "Guys, there are no Mandalorian characters in the expansion. The Mandalorian's not involved, even though it's all about the Outer Rim." And he said the reason for that is because at this point in the timeline, we don't know what the Mandalorian's up to, so we left him out to be safe. And I just thought, it's a board game. Like, there is no Star Wars fan who does not want all of Star Wars in a box. That fan does not exist who does not want all of Star Wars in one box. So I found that really upsetting, and I know that you would agree. And
I do.
Write an angry letter.
I like the idea of everything connecting. I come across grumpy sometimes, but I do. I like it when the TV shows connect. I like this, I like that. But yeah, a video game and a board game, shut the hell up and just make it entertaining, you fools. And I hate when we don't know where this character is. Shut up, then figure it out and put him in the game.
There should be by now, especially, there should be a board game where you can play as Rey teaming up with Darth Maul to fight Leia. That should be the fact that that's not a thing is absurd to me right now.
By the way, but I mean, look at Star Wars Monopoly when it came out. Aaron got it for me, and there was no female characters in it. There was it Vader, Luke, Finn, and Kylo were the characters. Okay, and then what was it? Like a year later, they're like, okay, if you bought it, we'll send you a Rey. We didn't want to give away Rey had a lightsaber. Then put her with a gun. Put her with a gun. Something stupid. And just put her staff in her hand like she had. I don't get they're just weird decisions have been made about this stuff. Because you're right. Because the thing is with again, if you're making a TV show, a movie, comic book, whatever, it has to tie together, fine.
Yeah.
But it's a board game. First of all, it's a board game.
Mm-hmm.
Even the video games, I mean, at least Battlefront, I know it's your favorite, but God bless Battlefront for having Boba Fett in it. Remember that first commercial was oh, he almost fell in the Sarlacc pit. He goes, oh, I dodged that one. And people are like, does that mean he survived? It's dude, it's Battlefront. It's choose your own adventure. We can have fun with these characters. We don't have to obsess over canon over every little thing. Look, if you watch episode 10 and it doesn't match up with episode 9, then you have a right to complain. But when you're playing a board game, when you play Star Wars Operation on R2D2, it's not real. Chill. Just chill, man. Yeah, so I'm with you. I think have fun. But why would you not put Mando in that? Whatever. Whatever.
They don't want merchandising profit. That's what they have taught us over the past 3 years. They just
No,
don't.
and then they use like this thing like we don't know where they are in the galaxy. That's great when Claudia Gray is writing a book, but this is not a book. This is a board game. Like I think there needs to be limitations to your canon obsession, and I don't know. Board games and video games I think should be free of that. And if you want like Jedi Fallen Order to be canon, then just say it's canon. Fine, but they don't all have to be. You know, when I play Spider-Man, it's not affecting me when I watch No Way Home.
Right?
They're separate.
I don't understand. Fantasy Flight Games, the people who make Star Wars Outer Rim, y'all got to chill out and put some Mando in there.
It's Lucasfilm. It's Lucasfilm saying you can't do it. We've got a plan.
Oh,
what's the plan? We don't know the plan, but we might want to do something one day where Mando is like, oh my God, then do it. Then just do it. Anyway,
thankfully,
the 27 people playing the video game are going to be, or the board game are going to be pissed off.
Oh yeah,
when they watch Mandalorian season 4. Like, that's not where he was.
Disney Plus is going to lose 27 subscribers that day, and Bob Chapek will be like, "It's the freaking Outer Rim people. I knew it." All right, let's wrap this up. You're probably close to home, James. If you have one hope for the finale, what do you want to see?
Rebellions are built on hope.
They are.
What do I want to see? I have no idea what I want to see in the finale. I don't know what's going on. I want to see. I don't know. You know what? Let's see. Why don't I go crazy here and I go anti-Andor, and I say I want to see a lightsaber.
Wow, that is anti-Andor.
I don't really care, but that would be it would be kind of like wild if one. I don't think we'll see it, but if anyone's gonna have one, it will be Luthen.
Oh yeah, he's probably got like 12 in that antique shop.
Yep.
I'm still of the heart and mind that I would love to see Mon sit down with Sheev, just in a room full of senators and important people, and slowly realize that they know what she's up to and she's got to get away. The tension that would, oh my God, that's all I want.
I'm down with Vader killing Deidre too.
You know what? I think I'd be perfectly happy with no Vader in this show.
No, so would I, but someone's got to kill her, and it's either going to be Palpatine or Vader, and Palpatine's probably not going to be the one to do it. So
yeah, he's not going to lift a finger if he can help it. All right, well, that is driving home with Andor. Only 6 more days until we get to see how this season of Amazing Television ends. James, until then, you were always scum.